Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Champions of Wonder podcast. My name's Emma, and today we are talking about how to find the time to do the things that we want. In the world that we live today, nobody has the time to do anything, right? We're going to talk about it, but what we talk about here on this podcast is how can we look at the world around us, the lessons that exist all around us, and import those lessons into our own lives so that we can create the life that we want, to create the world that we want to live in, and to be the greatest version of ourselves for ourselves and for others all around us. We're going to start off by really delving into what is this concept of time? Sounds a little bit abstract, but time is something that exists whether we're paying attention to it or not. Moments keep happening, things keep going forward, whether we're setting intention to it or not, time is just going to continue to go. We're going to continue to get older, we're going to see the years pass us by, whether or not we're putting any intention into how they're moving or not, they're going to continue to move forward. It is something that exists without us doing anything about it. So, what does that mean for us? Well, a lot of us will hold ourselves back and say, well, it's going to take me 5 years, 10 years to finish school. And the truth of the matter is, it's going to take 10 years to do anything, and those 10 years are going to pass by regardless of if you go to school or not. Those 10 years are going to come and go either way. And that's something that a lot of us seem to forget about. It's going to take me a long time to figure out how to edit a video or how to write. Well, that time is going to pass by anyway. At least if you're learning how to do something, you're enjoying your time, you're becoming a person that has another skill. And with that, you are able to grow through that process. And so what ends up happening is most of us are spending a lot of time complaining about what we do have, about what we don't have, hoping that someday everything's going to change and we're going to wake up and it's all going to be randomly better. And at the end of the day, a lot of what is going on in the world is based off of talking. We talk a lot. We say, oh, I wish I could do this, or I wish I could do that, or what if this was happening, or what if this was, my life would have been so much better if this, and this had happened instead of what did happen. And the truth is, we can't go back to the past and change it, and we can change the future based off of the decisions and choices we make right now. And at the end of the day, all of that talking and complaining and hoping and wishing and believing, if we used that same amount of time to actually do whatever it is that we're complaining or talking or hoping or believing about, we could actually get that thing done. And the thing is, there are so many hours in a day, there's so many minutes, so many seconds in a day, and especially in any kind of timeline. From now until the end of the year, so it's middle of May until the end of December, there is over 4,500 hours. Now, if we were to automatically take 2/3 of those hours away, that would still leave us with about 1,500 hours of you doing whatever it is that you want to do. And those 2/3 of the hours, so say 8 hours a day of sleep and 8 hours a day of work. And now that's for the entire 7 months, and you're probably not going to work every single day, and unfortunately most of us don't get 8 hours of sleep, so there's actually even more hours, but approximately you have 1,500 hours to do whatever you want with. Are you going to spend a majority of that doing things that you're going to be complaining about, creating habits that are giving you something to be upset about? Or are you going to take the time to organize those hours? Are you going to study for that exam? Are you going to take the time to work out? Are you going to take the time to learn how to edit a video, how to write better, how to outline a chapter? What are you going to do with that time? And the thing is, the time's going to pass anyway. The time is moving forward regardless of you paying attention to it or setting any kind of intention. So there's 4,700 hours left of 2021. What are you going to do with it? And We can use it to complain. We can use it to do things that we feel are unproductive. Now, many people feel that being on Instagram or watching shows or just doing nothing is unproductive. And we've already talked about how that can be very productive. If you're watching a show, if you are on Instagram, those things can be very productive. But if in your life you feel that those things aren't productive, why are you doing them? And the thing is, we have so much time every day. And by the end of the day, a lot of us feel like, oh, I didn't get as much done, or I didn't do this. So how did you spend your day? Keep a record of what you did and write down what you want to be doing. See where those lists don't match up. See where they do currently match up. Is there something that you do every day currently that you're really proud of, that you want that to be a habit that you do for a long time? And of course, habits will change, but they're only going to change if you're aware of them and if you're willing to grow and to import new information into your life as you learn. So that's really a big part of it. And a big thing as well is that excuses are not going to create the life that you want. I know, I wish I could give you a million things that are like, oh, do this, do this, do this. But at the end of the day, the excuses that we all have, they're just not going to create the life that we want. And it's a hard truth to say, it's just not going to work. You could complain about it. You could be self-righteous. You could always be the victim. But at the end of the day, that excuse isn't going to get you what you want. Complaining about somebody for an hour is an hour that you can no longer spend creating content or creating a friendship bracelet or learning a new sport, learning how to write, reading more. Every time you choose to do something, you're equally choosing not to do something else. And that's what a lot of our lives consist of, is doing activities so we don't have to do the activities that we actually want. And I think a big part of that is because many of us do things so we can complain about them, and we feel that if we were living the life that we actually wanted, we wouldn't have anything to complain about, and we don't understand what that kind of experience is like. What kind of world am I going to live in where I'm not complaining about my job or not complaining about my weight? What kind of life is that? It seems boring, but is it? Is the life that you're leading now fulfilling? Is what you're doing right now at work or being surrounded by the people that you're surrounded with, is that fulfilling? Is that the choice that you want to continue to make for your life? Maybe it is, but maybe it's also not. And the thing is, we all need to sit down and reflect a little bit more. Everybody has New Year resolutions, and usually by the third week of January, I think, is when most people just stop doing them. And why is that? Why do we give such little time to ourselves to achieve the things that we want? I think it has a lot to do with our own mindset, with the way that everybody else exists around us and lives their lives. And it is difficult to live the life that you want when everybody around you is doing the exact opposite. But the truth is, it doesn't really matter what anybody else is doing, because nobody has to live the life that you live. Nobody else is ever going to have to wake you up and live your life and feed you food and go to the job that you go to and pay the bills that you have to pay. Even when you are married to somebody, or if that's something that you choose to do, that person is still going to lead a life separate from you. So how are you going to live it? Are you going to live it by caring what other people say and doing what they tell you and importing their opinions on your life? Is that going to progress you into the direction that you want to? And that's another thing that we spend a lot of time on. How will other people feel about this? And we often forget to ask ourselves, well, how do I feel about this? You know, somebody invites you to something, you don't have to go just because they invited you. And that seems like a crazy thing to say, but at the end of the day, hurting somebody else's feelings is less detrimental for both of you than if you went and you had a horrible time and you made it a bad experience for everyone. It would have saved both of you so much trouble if you had just stuck to, well, I actually don't want to go, so I'm not going to go. And we need to understand that every time we say no when we actually mean no, we build up a confidence in ourselves. And that's really what it all comes down to. We believe that we can't do what we want to with our time because we're not confident in the decisions that we make. So we think, well, I'm already not spending my time in a good way. How could I ever create a life where I'm actually creating the life that I want? I'm going to the gym, I'm working out, I'm making my own food, I'm going to a job or doing things throughout the day that I love doing that make me feel excited to show up and be present in my life. And I'm creating a life that I don't need to vacation every 6 months from, every 3 months from, where I don't feel burnout because I know how to cope with the life that I want. I'm not complaining about everything. I'm getting enough sleep. I'm not dependent on coffee or alcohol or drugs or whatever it is to feel like I can live through my day. And it's difficult to get to that point where we build that trust with ourselves. But it starts off with the little things. It's saying, you know what, I actually can't do that assignment because I won't be able to contribute as much as I would like to in order to make it successful. Or it's saying, no, I actually can't spend the whole day with you because I need to be doing this for myself. It's okay to say no to people. No is a complete sentence, and you don't have to feel forced into doing anything that you don't want to. Because at the end of the day, no one's going to live the life that you have to live. And there's another shift of mind that we can really look into, and it's the next time you feel like you don't have the time to do something, say, instead of I don't have time, say I'm not willing to make this a priority. And see how that shifts what you're talking about. If you're saying, well, I don't have the time to go to the gym, I'm not making this a priority. And that really will shift how we're approaching things. And how is it going to change? Because the truth of the matter is, if we're saying things like, oh, I'm not making you a priority, the person who I'm in a relationship with, and I don't have the time to spend with you, well, it's actually, you're not a priority in my life. And what do you want to prioritize? Do you want to prioritize working 12 hours a day at a job, being upset and being burnt out? What are you prioritizing right now in your life? What is the main priority? And the thing is, you get to decide what every single one of those priorities is. Because the truth is, you make every decision because you are the one who has to fulfill every action and have to deal with the consequences of every choice that you make. There is nobody at any point in your life that's going to have to deal with the consequences of your decision. Even when you're a little baby and you put your hand on a hot stove, you will have to deal with the pain of the healing of your hand. Your mother will probably be very upset and feel really bad, but she can't take the pain away from you and deal with it herself. And that's really the thing about life too. If you feel like you have to do something because other people are telling you, understand that they will never have to deal with the consequences of your decisions ever. So even if you're in college and you feel like you have to study the major you don't want because your parents are helping you pay for college, understand that if you suddenly drop out or you get a degree in something you hate, you're going to spend a lot of time hating your life. And we should never be hating our life because we only get one. We only get to experience this world one time. And we really need to accept the consequences of our decisions. And why don't we all check into our goals and see every start of the month as a new year or a new time or a new chance to start again? Why don't we check in with the goals that we made the previous month, see how far we got, what did we achieve, And what would we like to continue to achieve throughout this next month? Write down what you're doing, what you want to be doing. Write down goals that you have. Write down your values. Write down the different things that you want to see from life and just do it. We spend way too much just talking about things, hoping for things, imagining things instead of just doing. And only through action will we ever get the life that we want. So that's really it. You find the time because you make that the priority. You make choices that will fulfill your life and create the life that you want, and understand that nobody else will ever have to deal with the consequences of your decision besides you. So move forward, understand time's going to pass by anyway, and you get to decide how it passes by. There's 4,700 hours left in 2021. And now imagine how many hours there are left in your entire life. I hope that it's many, and I hope that many of us realize sooner rather than later that everything that we do, we get to decide whether we want to continue to do it or not. And when we have new data, we can make new decisions. And we just need to keep doing that. We need to keep reflecting, keep adjusting, and keep removing from our lives what isn't working. And we are going to continue to talk about more lessons that life offers us. And the truth is, there's so many. This life is filled with amazing descriptions, lessons, entertainment. And as long as we continue to hold on to wonder, we will become champions of this world and creating the world that we want to see. Hope that you tune in next time. But until then, have an amazing day.